Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It's markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Thursday, August 10th, 2023. It's Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action in the cryptocurrency market, stock market, Bitcoin, altcoins, XRP. Take a look over there at precious metals and look at the DXY and any type of news that is going on out there, any type of economic events that could be occurring, in which today is CPI day, or Consumer Price Index reporting day today. We've been following this, of course, all year long. We were watching as CPI fell from about 9% all the way last month till it got down to 3%. We've talked about that a lot, that would be kind of our floor of where we would be at. We'd kind of stick there, just that we wouldn't really have many readings that are going to drop us much more. Now it's going to be kind of like a grind to try to get down to the Federal Reserve's target CPI number of about 2%. So we got the CPI report today, month over month, came in at 0.2%, a great reading. Adjust that annually, that's 2.4% annually. But, when we had our reading last year, when we had the reading come out in August, which was for July of 2022, that was the 1 month where we happened to have a 0.0% month over month inflation. So the 0.0 drops out of our year over year calculation. We add in a 0.2. So our CPI year over year rises from 3.0 to 3.2. So we saw an uptick in the year over year. However, a 0.2% month over month. Just a fine number, nothing to concern about. Annualize that, that's 2.4%. So that's what we ended up getting today. Markets were volatile right out the gates of that occurring. Let's see, is this the 1 minute chart? There you go. There's your 1 minute chart of what has happened here. Here's where the CPI data gets released. The Dow Jones pops up 80 points, rolls over, goes down 200 points, comes all the way back up. And then now here we are with the stock market opening currently right now. And the Dow is up 278 points at the opening of the market. Good start to the day over here for the stock market after some volatility. We'll see how this thing digests itself once the market does open, as it has been just super volatile ever since that reading came out. But otherwise, things were looking good for inflation readings. As for the stock market, you can look over here on the right side of the screen. We have a green opening here in stocks. Nothing much of a change really at all over here in yields to the upside or to the downside, kind of a wash in there. Metals have been all over the place this morning as well. Let's see if we could see this. Here's gold, not a big change. You look at that on like the 1 minute chart, you could see the same thing. It was volatile, and here we are just about back where we were 4 hours ago. So we'll see if any trend does emerge from that. As for Bitcoin, as for the cryptocurrency market, the story was the same. We saw ups, we saw downs right after the readings came out this morning about an hour ago. So Bitcoin currently sits at $29,567, still just kind of holding on here. Really, crypto is just super boring right now. No matter how we spin it, it is just super boring currently right now, and has been for a couple of weeks. We go through these time periods quite often. Most of our time is spent boring during boring action until some type of excitement does arrive. And as is most of the time is spent, we currently sit in one of those time periods right now. But $29,500 over here. So, all right, before we dive too deep into this, you guys can follow me over here on Twitter at BCBacker. This is the only social media that I do use. I do not DM people. I do not request you to DM me, and I certainly do not ask you to send me any of your crypto for any type of lucrative investment opportunities or anything like that. So protect your crypto. If you see someone with my name or anybody trying to get you to send your crypto to them, it's a scam. This is my only social media at BCBacker. Of course, I do have a course over here at bcbacker.com. It's 40 plus videos, 11 hours of content recorded here in 2023, diving into all types of stuff here in the crypto market, from charting to teach you if you're a beginner and you have no experience whatsoever. I took that into consideration, and those who have a ton of experience. certainly try to come up with things in there to show my level of understanding of the crypto market and put that in here for people to learn some new stuff, even if you have a lot of experience in this market. Secret sauce from market experience, historical behavior of the crypto market, Elliott waves, Wyckoff, chart patterns, effective tools, and of course, walkthroughs of TradingView and Coin Trading Pro from the brand newbie to the experienced pro. All right, looking over there at the stock market. So the Dow Jones, right? This is the E-mini Dow Jones. I found this one interesting because this is the one we can watch in overnight futures, right? So like when the stock market opens Sunday nights, this is what we're always looking at, or at least I'm always looking at here is the E-mini Dow Jones for the stock market. And you can see this one has actually back tested the 786 Fibonacci retracement level and just really kind of building somewhat of a bull flag happening in here. I noticed that this morning because usually I'm, like most people, I'm spending most of my time staring at this one, right? Staring at the Dow Jones itself, but the fibs haven't lined up precisely on here. But I did notice that on the E-mini that we are getting a pretty good lineup in there. Either way, just kind of looking like a bull flag. I've tried to do like my wave counts on this. If this is a WXY topping structure that does go into a new all-time high, trying to do the wave counts on what that would be, it would look something like, let's use WXY. Then we'd be looking for a 5-wave structure in here. And I have spent quite a bit of time looking at this. If we were to get that we would actually be, that this would be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5, and then kind of a longer correction happening in here before finally that 5th wave comes up. That's what the top of Bitcoin looked like. That's what the top of Ethereum looked like. And that would make perfect sense to reach that 4.236 extension if we are to do so. Can't rule it out at this point, considering that it's gotten through all the retracement levels, not just on the futures, but of course, as we know, even over here on the standard Dow Jones, it's gotten through. We know that the NASDAQ has gotten through, and we know that the S&P has gotten through. So similar concept, right? So either way, waiting for the Dow to do something, but hey, we're up 300 points today. Does that give us a positive week so far? Yeah, it gives us a pretty positive week. Last week was pretty volatile, but as you can see, this week so far, we are pretty green, and we're getting near the end, right? Today is Thursday. So pretty decent start to today. We'll see if this thing actually can get a breakout from here today. Now up 333 points for the Dow Jones, which is 0.94%. The NASDAQ is up over 1% this morning at 1.1%, and the S&P is up 0.92%. Quite a bit of green over here. No big breakouts happening over here. Roblox really took a hit yesterday. It was down 20% yesterday. I almost bought more. I almost bought some, but I did refrain. But I'm thinking I might buy some Roblox. I gave my Roblox story yesterday. All right, back to Bitcoin, 29,600. Yesterday news, the SEC finally, what is the term? Finally filed their I can't pronounce it. Interlocutory. Oh my gosh, that was brutal. Interlocutory. We're gonna get the correct wording for you guys. Interoculary? No. Okay. Interlocutory. There we go. The SEC filed their interlocutory. I'm a pretty good reader. Like I read on this channel. Interlocutory appeal regarding the programmatic offers and sales to XRP buyers over trading platforms. Of course, with Bitcoiners, this got immediately reported as the SEC is disputing or appealing the security status of XRP. Of course, that is not true. They are, of course, likely just trying to get more money out of Ripple, right? So I've been real blunt about, and I'm not a legal expert in any way, but I follow everybody on Twitter, right? If you're not on Twitter, you're doing yourself a disservice because you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth when people like Jeremy Hogan, John Deaton, start really kind of going into it and saying, the way this was done, the way this summary judgment was written, it's that the security status of XRP can't even be appealed. So the appeals that the SEC is making is towards the programmatic sales that Ripple has done. Whether or not whether an interlocutory repeal, which I've probably mispronounced that again, is a request to appeal. So it doesn't even mean that they can actually officially appeal. They have to submit a request. And according to the lawyers on Twitter, like, even though it has nothing to do with the security status of XRP in itself, and it's more to do with Ripple's sales, they don't even think the SEC can get that one approved, to get the approval to even appeal. That Judge Torres writ her decision so elegantly and so professionally that an overturning or even an acceptance of an appeal won't even happen. And I also was seeing on there on Twitter, like the track record of Judge Torres is there's not been one appeal, one successful appeal ever, like literally zero. So that was the big news yesterday. We finally have that behind us. We've all been waiting on that for that to come out. Yesterday in the live stream, somebody had said, hey, do you think they're going to file the appeal at the bottom, considering they tend to do that all the time? Well, sure enough, you are the winner. They did down here at the lows, right? Price falls all the way back. Kind of ABCs down in here. If you caught my video yesterday that I put out, ABC, the measurement of a zigzag, right? We measured zigzag yesterday. And what was it? Waves of near equality and length. And here we are down here, and then they filed their appeal. You can't beat that. So for me, the thing I'm intrigued about is, will we actually hit the 200-week moving average over here on the XRP versus Bitcoin price chart? It's kind of where I'm waiting at. I do have the intention of swapping some of my Bitcoin for XRP, but I'm a pretty good hodler of my Bitcoin. Like I can hold that for years. I did that from 2018 through 2021. I just held it, never touched it. I learned my lessons in 2017, trying to play around with my Bitcoin too much, swapping it in and out of altcoins, made plenty of mistakes in 2017, did a good job holding on to it from 2018 through 2021, when it finally came time for me to sell it for between $45,000 to $58,000. I did accumulate Bitcoin again, got my stack just about back to where it was after the FTX collapse, and I've just been hodling it ever since. But I am strongly considering swapping some of my Bitcoin for XRP here. But considering I've learned my lessons many times on doing things like that, I'm only willing to do it if I can really get something super tight, super close, to feel more comfortable with it. So just kind of waiting on that. If that opportunity doesn't get offered, so be it. But that's kind of what I'm thinking here. If I can get a one new low set over here, I'll go ahead and take a stab. And my current plan right now, and don't follow me blindly, is that I'll be getting rid of about 20% of my Bitcoin and jamming it there into XRP. Again, XRP is already my number one holding by far. XRP, I think, is 3 to 4 times larger than my Bitcoin holdings. So do the math on that. If I sell 20%, that means I increase my XRP bag by like 7 or 8% or something. Nothing big. But either way, I'm wanting to do that. Looking over here at the stock market, so we can see the Dow still up over 300 points, NASDAQ up over 160, and the S&P up 39. So very close to 1% rises for the indexes. The leaders today is Roblox after just this absolute slaughtering that happened yesterday. Tesla up too. And just remember, yesterday was a pretty rough day over there in the stock market, but recoveries seem to be happening here today. As for XRP, still bounce off this lows. I've left all these Elliott waves on here from yesterday's video that I recorded, so you guys can see all that good stuff in there. If you didn't catch yesterday's video, we spent quite a bit of time going through all the wave counts and building on a video that was based back on June 26th. All right, so there we have it. We've got Bitcoin covered. We've got the Dow Jones covered. And we have volatility that we've had this morning. So this is the CPI release this morning. CPI came in as expected. I would say I'm pleased with it. I think the thing would have been uncomfortable if you saw like a 0.4 or a 0.5%, just because if you annualize that, 0.4, 0.5%, then you're at that's like a 5 to 6% year over year inflation rate. At 0.2%, that still keeps us at a 2.4% annualized rate. The only reason that CPI rose from 3.0 to 3.2 is because in August of last year when we had CPI month over month for July, it was 0.0%. So we replaced that with the 0.2. Naturally, your 3% year over year is going to drift up to 3.2. Now, next month, when we have our CPI reading come in, that'll be a little bit more interesting. We already knew we were gonna bounce off this floor this month. We've talked about that for months on end. That whenever we were falling, when we get the July reading, that's going to be it. That's where we're stopping at. Then it's to see how do we respond once we get here. So when we get our CPI release next month, we're actually going to be dropping a 0.2% out of the year over year. So will we replace it with another 0.2? Will we replace it with a 0.1? Will it be a 0.3? Not a big deal as long as it's not something that's like a 0.5 or a 0.6, I would think. So then the next month it's like a 0.3. Then the next month it's like a 0.5. So there is this chance that in like 3 months from now, we could see like a 2.9% year over year inflation rate. But this month, likely, now we're at 3.2. Next month, we'll probably be at 3.2 or 3.3. The month after that, maybe back to 3.2 or 3.1. And then the month after that, so what are we in? August, September, October, November. When we get our reading in November, maybe we can be at like that 2.9% finally. But that's just going to be kind of where we're hovering at right now. Those big drops that we've talked about, having those big fallouts of like 1.2% month over month, those are done. We're not going to be doing any of those anymore. So there we go. All right. Stock market looking okay to start the morning. Let's see how metals are doing. Silver's up quite a bit, up 1.2%. Platinum's up quite a bit, over 2%. Gold is up about 0.5% this morning. DXY has really been all over the place. We can take a look at that. DXY has been a washing machine in here. So yeah, not much to read from that. One thing to say, it has stalled out here, right? We could draw trend lines. We could do. I'm not going to bust out trend lines on here, but is there a support? Right. Is this a breakdown? Is this a back test? We'll find out. I'm not, like I've said, I'm not going to guess too much on the DXY currently right now. I've kind of presented my thoughts on it. My thesis all year long was that we would break and get to 99 to 100. We got to 99.5. Now it's time to let the market breathe and let it dictate what's going to happen next. We hit that target. That's the one to watch out for. We knew there was support down here. Now it's just to see how it's going to play out from here. Otherwise with news, I don't think I saw anything too huge in regards to news. I think the big news out there is really just what happened with Ripple and what happened with the SEC filing their appeal. Otherwise, no real big news to dive into. And I've done if there was something to worry about when it came to the appeal, I'd communicate that the best that I could. But I've spent time, of course, going around looking at all the lawyers on Twitter to see if they have any concerns. Jeremy Hogan seems to have zero concerns. Crypto Law US seems to have zero concerns. So there you go. You can either take your information from Bitcoiners who have said since day one this is going to get all overturned and XRP is going to be a security, or you can listen to the guys who follow the case closely. I'm going to listen to the guys that follow the case closely. So. All right. As for news over there in macro land, inflation rose 3.2% annually in July, which is less than expected. We knew this was going to happen. We've talked about this so much that we would see this number up. It's just, this is so clickbaity. I think Bloomberg did a better job at it, right? See, they were honest with it. U.S. core CPI posts smallest back-to-back increases in 2 years. And that's the reality. You have core, then you have standard, right? Core is going to include housing and energy, I think. But the readings that we're seeing are still super low. That 0.2% that we just got month over month, super low. So definitely nothing to fret when it comes to inflation. Of course, the thing is now everybody's screaming about, are we moving from inflation? Are we going to move into deflation? So far, there's no signs of deflation. Deflation worries and concerns would be if we were getting negative month over month prints. So if we start registering negative 0.1, negative 0.2, negative 0.3, you start worrying about deflation. Right. One Compian says the readings that we're seeing is still super low. Right. A 0.2% month over month is super low. If you did that at all times, we would never even talk about inflation. Inflation would be the most boring topic to even talk about if we were getting 0.2s every month, which is what we got this month. And I believe it's what we got last month. So XRP Monkey says, listen to the 702 crew and hit the like button. So, all right, that's the big news of today. SEC files their appeal against Ripple, or excuse me, interlocutory. I did it again. Interlocutory. I had it right. Okay, the SEC has filed their interlocutory appeal regarding programmatic offers and sales to XRP buyers over trading platforms and Ripple's other distributions. So the headlines, of course, that came out immediately from Bitcoiners was that the SEC has appealed the non-security status of XRP. That is incorrect. That's pretty much a lie. They are appealing the programmatic sales. So trying to milk the cow for more that they can out of Ripple. The way that Judge Torres wrote her summary judgment made it so that the security status of XRP could not be appealed in any way. So no need to fret over that. But whether or not Ripple has to pay more fines or whatever, not my problem. I don't own any Ripple equity to be concerned about that. Other news, of course, was CPI. So CPI came out, and we've already beaten that one down. So CPI was fine. CPI was good. Stock market thinks so as well. With the Dow Jones up over 350 points, up over 1%. NASDAQ up 1.3%, up over 200 points. And the S&P up over 1% as well, up 47 points. So really just a nice start to the day. And we could see the weekly candle right there for the Dow. Not a bad weekly candle in motion currently right now. So what'll be interesting about this is if this thing does start humming along, where the next where we're getting close to, right? And what has always been the rule for crypto bull runs? It's been stock market all-time highs. So we're like there. We're close, man. All right, let me go ahead and hop on into the chat and try to think if there's anything else we need to cover. There's not a whole lot going on in crypto. For XRP, price is still just holding down there at the lows that they've been at for a couple of days. The thing I'm watching for is to see if I can snag some down here on the 200-week moving average. If this thing cracks through the 200-week moving average, that idea, of course, will be invalidated. Could it wick through? Sure, it could. Go back and look at the history of how it's behaved. Oops, wrong one. So you can see even in this circumstance of this bounce, did it wick through? Yes, it did wick through. So that expectation, and we have seen wicks to the other side. What was this one accompanied with? It was accompanied with news, right? This was the Bill Hinman emails being released. We've talked about that this week already. Let's take a look. Bill Hinman emails get released. Everybody is excited and happy. And then less than 2 hours later, right? So we did get some news released here already. Maybe, what do you think the negative news could be? Could it be, how would the market react, right? So what I try to think of is what could some news be that would scare the market and make them panic? Maybe, let's ask this, run these scenarios through your head. This is what I was trying to do to emotionally prepare myself so I don't get surprised. What would happen so I think the next phase is that Ripple has to reply, right? They have to give their argument on why the SEC should not be allowed to appeal. And then so there's so much time that would pass. It seems unlikely that there's enough time in all of this for it to happen. Either way, let's pretend that Judge Torres does allow the SEC to appeal. Would that panic anybody? I'm going to do a poll. Engage with your audience. Start a poll. If Judge Torres allows the SEC to appeal, will that be concerning? Yes or no? Right. So, okay, I just put out the poll. They have filed an interlocutory appeal, which means they're requesting to appeal. If Judge Torres says, okay, you can appeal, will that cause worry? Correct. Kelly Slade says she could simply deny it. Right. So if she allows the appeal to happen, will that be concerning? Now you have to remember, most lawyers out there, most Twitter lawyers are saying it's highly likely it will get denied. So it would actually be a little surprising if it does get allowed. Well, that's what I mean. XSupercar says yes for the price. Okay. I'm sure that's, I don't think I needed to say that more, but yeah, of course, for price. Will that be concerning for price? Most people say no. You get 70% saying no. Okay. We'll see. I'm going to end the poll. We're at 322 votes after a minute, 327. It's about 70% no, it won't be concerning. 30% say yes, it will be concerning. So there you go. But see, all it takes is that 30% to get really loud on Twitter. And then all of a sudden, the people who said they weren't concerned suddenly start getting concerned. That's all it takes. But either way, that was trying to get an idea. If the market got surprised by it, how would the market feel about it? So either way, yeah, I'm watching for the 200-week moving average. So there you go. It sits right there. To just get an idea, right? First time breaking out after 4 years. A little bit of a back testeria. That's proper Spanish, I'm sure. and then hoping that we turn this puppy around after this. So. All right, guys, let's hop into the chat. So I think that's what we have going on today. CPI came in just fine today. The SEC filed their interlocutory appeal, which is a request to appeal. The stock market is humming along today. What are you at now, Dow? Dow's up over 400 points today after the CPI. So, right, we all expected CPI would rise. Fortunately, the market was smart enough to know that as well. And nothing surprising came from the CPI today. So lots of green over here in the stock market. Still waiting for crypto to catch on up to the stock market. As we've historically seen throughout the past of the market, getting to that new all-time high has been a signature moment. Boy, we're awfully close. And currently right now, if the markets were to close today, we would have engulfed back the entire week from last week. Of course, we still have the rest of today. Of course, we still have tomorrow before we can get too excited about that. But as you can see, the entire body of open to close of last week has currently been taken back this morning now after all of that price action. So right on, man. Right on. All right. Leno CX said, let the train start. Thank you so much. Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like button for free digital McMuffins. Thank you guys so much. We've got 1,900 in here. We've got 500 likes. Let's get it going. Number one way to support. Thanks, guys. Crypto Pigeon says, yo, BCB, we look like we're going from wave A to B. Does that go into an ABC or 5 waves to B? Asking for an idiot friend that occasionally leverage trades. No, no leverage trade, Crypto Pigeon. As I always say, I do not support leverage trading. It's the easiest way to lose everything, to get completely wiped out. I don't know. My thoughts are what I said in yesterday's video. Tim Dijkstra, I'm so sorry. He says, do you recognize Wyckoff at Ethereum on the weekly? Right. So I was looking at that. I was looking at Ethereum today. It's been a little while since I stared at Ethereum. Right. So the worst part about Ethereum and why. So I've put out a full thing on Ethereum. I put out a full video on that. That's my thoughts. Straight up, that's just my thoughts. Most of my audience opted not to watch that video. They shoot themselves in the foot sometimes, man. This was a great video to watch, and even if you don't like Ethereum, I guarantee the people who did watch that learned something, learned some amazing things in that video, just about technical analysis and about corrective structures and distance of waves and all that good stuff. So, like, if you were looking at this in the form of a Wyckoff, right? What would be the concern here, right? What do you have? You have your selling climax, right? Secondary test in phase B. Then you're kind of worrying right here, right? What do you have? Your two typical things to always worry about, right? You have either your last point of support or your spring phase, right? Did I spell spring right? Okay. Right. Last point of support or spring, right? We know that too because we know the rest of the market is there. The nice thing is, like, if we pull up things like SHIB, right, you can see, we know that was spring, right? Spring happened, and now it's shuffling its way out. And another way to look at that too is Cardano, right? So here's, let's do Kraken. Boom, there we go. So here's the bottom of Cardano back in 2018, 2019, and 2020. And you can just see the very clear Wyckoff accumulation followed by the spring, right, to finish this thing off, right? So what do we have here with SHIB, right? We have it, the spring, Wyckoff accumulation. I've done the whole thread over there on Twitter. I've talked about this on YouTube, I don't know, a couple dozen times. I've got to take a break for a minute to give you guys a rest from Wyckoff accumulation, but we're going to come back to it soon. But, you know, it's very clear. And then we see, what did we see? We also included, you have Bitcoin Cash that's already gone for it. We showed XRP. We showed how XRP had already gotten, we did like a video just a couple of days before the breakout ended up happening that XRP was doing the last point of support version rather than doing the spring version, right? There's two schematics, right? This should say it in here, schematic 1, but we talk about schematic 2, right? So there's two different schematics in Wyckoff accumulation, and all A, B, and C versions are all the same. It's really when we get back down here to the end. It's whether or not we have an actual breakdown that causes a spring like this, or do we just kind of creep along super boring like so, right? Where's our spring all the way back down to the lows? So if you remember during this whole time period, as we're waiting for here, wrong one. Go to the daily. Oh, I'll hide everything. There we go. Right. So when XRP got back to the 200-day moving average, what were the things we were talking about? We're talking about spring phase coming in next. I said, I'm going to take a stab at it. I even posted over there on Twitter to say I've added to my bags here on the 200-day moving average, but I could absolutely see us getting down to 31 cents. Why? Because spring phase hadn't shown up yet for XRP. And when we did this exact same thing last time for XRP, we did spring phase. But we also discussed it just like 3 days before. It had appeared that most of the market had already done spring. We saw it here. We saw it on Chainlink. We saw it on Atom or Cosmos. We saw it on, who are the other ones? Like Ethereum Classic. We had already seen it, right? This is exactly what happens for the spring phase, right? It gets back to the support line and then cracks it down, right? So let's go back. Right? This is what happened here too, right? It's back to the support line. What happens? Cracks it down for spring. And so we talked all about that on XRP and that we had gotten past that phase. So if we already see it, that we've gotten past spring, last point of support versions are showing up in here, right? What are we seeing? We're seeing spring versions, and we're also seeing last point of support versions like we saw with XRP. So your question is back to Ethereum, right? So is Ethereum going to have a spring phase, right? Is this a creek spring, right? I'm going to make my guess and say it's last point of support, just like XRP was. The market tends to move together, and that this would have been the spring portion of it right here, as we saw for the rest of the market, and that the rest of the market already did it. And that, like we say, we've already seen spring happen here in the market. So I don't think we're going to see a spring come out of here. More so, we're actually waiting to see something happen in Ethereum like we saw happen in XRP, that it's about to shoot off and go, and that we're about to enter the sign of strength phase over here for Ethereum. And like I said, I've already done a video on Ethereum. We went into super details on Ethereum, and yeah. So I don't think we're going to have a spring here. I think we're in last point of support, and we're just waiting for this puppy to go. So, and your question was on the weekly, but it'll look the same like that, right? Yeah. Right. So I think that's last point of support, not spring, because the whole market did the spring here. But thank you, Tim. Pat, brother, thank you, man. I appreciate it, dude. Oscar, thank you so much. Oscar gives a BCB membership. Michael J. Love, member for 4 months. Wen Moon, hit the freaking like button. Thank you, Michael. Big Shroom says, morning, BCB, do you believe the way CPI is calculated is rigged in favor of TPTB? I don't know what TPTB is. TB. Of the powers that be. Okay. That's a good question. I wouldn't know the way to answer it. So the second we start not trusting data, which we do, you have to kind of assume some data is rigged. But the second we just don't trust any data, then what do we trust? Our gut, right? And that's a hard thing to do. So there's a chance. But, here's why it's hard for me to fully commit to that idea. There's people on Twitter who really go into detail on trying to guess what CPI will be. There's all these different segments of the economy that are measured in CPI. And there's people on Twitter who legitimately try to guess it and come up with data and can get relatively close based on things they're seeing in the economy. And it's usually not far off from that. So, and these are just nobodies on Twitter. JB Heavy Equipment Services says, is your $2,000 to $3,000 Bitcoin theory still on track? Here's how it wouldn't be on track. The only way it wouldn't be on track is if Bitcoin breaks through all its retracement levels. So the idea of if we're going to see a $2,000 to $3,000 Bitcoin would be that we'd fall and then we'd retrace, right? So it's all going to depend on what happens at retrace levels. If we get through the retracement levels, then nope. But the theory is certainly still, the whole theory in general was that we could just do this. 702 retracement, and then kerplunk all the way back down. So yeah, definitely. The only time it's going to really get invalidated is if we start getting above all retracement levels and start shooting for all-time highs. But the original idea was totally retracement levels, and that the big warning area is like this $38,000 to $54,000 level. So for sure. And for those who are seeing that for the first time, I won't make you think I'm entirely crazy. I don't ever like to just say something crazy like that because so many people would disagree with it, and not at least show you why. It's simply that this was the final consolidation. This is your typical crash, retrace, reaccumulation, 4.236 extension reach out, and then we bounce from right here, right? Right. Here's Ethereum from 2017. It's the same story, right? 4.236 extension, right? Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, 4.236 extension reach out. Where do we pull back down to? Like where we pull back down to, right around there. Where do we pull down to? Right. See where we are. See how much higher it goes. Right. It's not that crazy. It's almost like even something to even be concerned about with Bitcoin is if we're in that type of phase right here. Just to kind of be cautious of that. Now you can see how much higher it bounced in an equivalent bounce, like $43,000. So just to, be mindful. And then what does Ethereum do? It goes and it just keeps on crumbling and takes out the lows, right? And the thing to keep in mind is that the stock market, U.S. stock market, has been in the biggest bull run of our lifetimes, right? Once Bitcoin was created, which was right here. And what we know is that Bitcoin breaks out into new bull runs every time the Dow Jones breaks out. And every time the Dow Jones crumbles, who crumbles with it? Bitcoin. So if we are actually heading to a 4.236 extension for the Dow Jones and then rolls over and heads into we go into a deflationary environment, what will happen with Bitcoin? Can this idea be ruled out that if the Dow's entire trajectory changes, if the stock market's entire trajectory changes, we can't do something like that, which goes and takes out those lows, right? And it gets you down here to about $2,000. Just to kind of to see that. Now people will say that can't happen because it's Bitcoin. I'm going to argue differently. Because the narrative is great today doesn't mean in 2 or 3 years from now the narrative isn't garbage, and that those things can change. But yeah. So anyway, that's the concept, right? And so like something else that did do that, but doesn't mean we don't bounce from there, and it doesn't start something new, right? What did Ethereum do? It took a long time, but hey, it started over again. It just had to be a full cycle reset. And so one thing we've talked about on this channel has been super cycles. That's how we got the top of Bitcoin. It's how we got the top of Ethereum at the same time back in 2021. It was that Bitcoin was completing a super cycle. That was its third super mega, grand super cycle, right? So that would have been the fifth wave. That would mean 3 super cycles with 2 major corrections along the way. Well, Elliott wave theory tells us what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we correct A, B, C. And if we were to do something like that, right, just be mindful, right? There's nothing indicating it currently right now, but your question is, are we still on track? It's not necessarily that we're even on track. It's just to be mindful of it. And I'm not in no way ruling it out. Right? So just kind of being mindful of it right now. Stock market getting close. If if we got right there, right? If we got to like $41,000, $42,000 for Bitcoin, and then the stock market hit the 4.236 extension at the exact same time, what would you do, right? Just kind of keep being prepared for that. Another one, we can look at Netflix. Where does Netflix go? All the way down below, right? Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, full extension, all the way down. Takes out the low. People think it can't happen because it's never happened before, but Bitcoin has only existed since right here. And if the Dow hits here and goes like that, what does it mean for Bitcoin? So that's the interesting thing about where we're at right now, and just keeping all of that in mind. But thank you, JB. Stefan Ziner, thank you very much. First timer. No super chat. I don't know what it is. Anybody know what exactly it is for the first timers? Because I see Stefan then did message again in a minute, but that first time, there's always something that's tricky about that first time for everybody. Jonas says, hey, BCB, are you looking to add to XRP in this range? I'm not looking to bring new cash into the market. At over 60 cents, it's just way above my DCA now. For me, my justification with Bitcoin is that with XRP, is my bias that we're going to set a new all-time high? Yes, right? Do I think we're going to at least like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x? My bias is that we will. Do I think Bitcoin has those types of returns? Right. Like everybody run the math right now. Like say the number out loud. Where's the top of Bitcoin in the next year or two? What's your number, right? And how much of a return is that? Probably not much. So I don't see much of a return on Bitcoin. And I think, if there's ever been a time for me to take a shot on swapping some Bitcoin for some XRP, it's the first time since September of 2018. Really, August. 5 years. So I'm taking a shot at it. I'll swap some Bitcoin. But as for fresh cash, I think I'm probably done. Hey, BCB, thanks for all you do. Any thoughts on IOTA? I haven't been following IOTA at all. Is it even on here? Yeah, there it is. I would say there's, we can clearly see crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We saw lots of coins do this kind of retrace thing. I haven't followed IOTA in quite some time to know if they're up to anything elaborate or not. I know they had set up the wallet to where you would stake, what was it, Shimmer and I forget what the other one was. I don't know. I haven't followed it lately. I don't see anything unique about it. I don't see any strength emerging in IOTA that is separate from the market. I think first signs are just watching a revisit back to the broken support levels. And what is the rest of the market doing? Is the rest of the market struggling at these? Is the rest of the market getting out? Or is this consistently a place where struggles are happening at? And just so you know, we have seen the struggle take place right here for at least two assets so far. And that would be Litecoin. So mark these in your thoughts, guys. Litecoin has struggled here. Who else did? Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash not quite as far. But Keep them in mind, right? Okay. Thank you, Stefan. Blockchain lurker. Whether one chats or lurks, let's support. Hit the like. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it, brother. Always reminding everybody to like. Thank you. Dennis Wayne. Again, just thank you. Dennis, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Oscar Hernandez with the thumbs up. Thank you, brother. Andy Philpott gives 5 BCB memberships. Thank you so much. Kai Carino or Key Carino. He says, I love you, BCB. I've been following you for years. You are the man. Heart Frog. Thank you so much. I can't put Tim. I was going to say Tim. Thanks, BCB. Going to check the video again. All in. Let's go. Don. I'm guessing that's for the Ethereum one. Don. Hey, BCB. Have you looked at ASX 200 Australian stock market? Any thoughts? Thanks. I watch video every day, including your video. I watch every video, including your Ethereum video. I have not looked at the Australian stock market. I know there was weird stuff happening there. They're having a currency problem currently right now, right? ASX 200. No, but I mean, we could see it's buttoned up against the top many times, right? I mean, that looks like it wants to go. But I don't know if this is an economic strength thing, if this is a currency thing. I do remember there was a currency thing happening with the Australian dollar. I don't even know the ticker for Forex symbol for Australian dollar. Was that correct? Australian dollar. So the Australian dollar... So look, even in 2022, we've seen the DXY fall really all of 2022. It kind of recovered during that moment, huh? But still kind of trending down. Like, I don't really know. I don't follow it close enough. I don't know. It's butting up against the top so many times, you would think it looks like it's ready to go. But I don't know if that's a strength in Australia or if that's a currency issue. But thank you, Don. Anthony Trujillo. If you love super cycles, hit the like button. Thank you. Member 2 months. John DeJean, member 23 months, almost 2 years. Please, just John. All right, you got it, John. I'll try to remember. Always. Anyways, any plan for making more than 2 loyalty badges? I know, man. I keep forgetting. Maybe a new one for a 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. I totally agree with you. Let me write it down. It's very silly that there's not more. If I had a pen. I don't even have a pen at my desk. All right, let me write it in an Excel file. New badges for members. There we go. All right. I agree, sir. John. All right. Isometrics says, I'm pumped. A while back, you had a guest where he showed you bull runs that match with accounts created or crypto moving away from exchanges or something. Have you looked at these graphs recently? You can't trust the Bitcoin moving away from exchanges stuff because of what happened with FTX and what happened with Celsius and all that stuff. So once all that stuff, and that was TXMC, by the way, from Alpha Beta Soup. Still good friends with that guy. When it comes to crypto leaving exchanges, You can't trust it because there was a mass exodus from exchanges when FTX happened. I'm gonna try log in real fast and see if I can see something else. So it's been a long time since I've looked at this. There's always one thing that I've noticed to pay attention to, and that's like when the larger accounts are starting to distribute. Charts, addresses, greater than 10 Bitcoin. And they're still not distributing, which is a good sign for Bitcoin. They're still just grinding away. Grinding. So, all good. I don't know. Do you guys want TXMC? I know. See, there's a segment of people who like that, who like those shows, but then there's a segment of people who don't. And it's always one of those things of it's almost impossible to appease everybody. And that's just an unfortunate reality. I have to accept at all times. Like I'll do something and I know I'm going to piss off 10% of people, you know, but then I'll do something else and those people would be happy and the other group won't. But either way, maybe I'll bring TXMC back on the show. What do you think? All right, Anthony, if you love buying tops and selling bottoms, hit the like button. Thank you, Anthony. Matt Bender says, do you think XRP makes all-time high by end of year? It's a time prediction. I'll make my time guess. I'll say yes. But I have a pretty poor track record with time. Pitbull, bro, do you see a 5K dash top possible? Nice day. Ugh, I don't know about that. We watched the market kind of shift a whole lot there in 2021. For me, on any other coins that... Okay, yeah, so people do want TXMC. I don't know. We'll have to see. Did people expect Ethereum Classic to go full extension? Of course not. You know, anything can happen. But for me, it'll be more about paying attention to the total altcoin market cap at the same time for all my altcoins. Dr. Ty, did you know that if you hit the like button, it will give you a 50% chance for XRP to have a green day? So hit the like button. Hey, I like that. Thank you, Dr. Ty. Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like. Check out the merch. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention the merch. We'll get it tomorrow. Alpay says, don't you think that XRP did not have a bull run? Correct. Well, that's what the Elliott wave suggests yesterday, right? So I put out a whole video talking about Elliott waves, right? And what would happen in a bull run is that you'd get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But what did we see? We saw an ABC, which is still just consolidation. So the question then begs, or do we see that on a lot of the coins right now, right? And somebody asked about Dash too. Dash just got deemed as a security by the SEC, didn't it? So, ugh. Have I lost my XRP over Bitcoin? There we go. Jaywalk. Minimum donation and asking about coin I don't know. Let me check. Not listed on Coinbase. Not listed on Binance. 0 chance of maybe talking about it. Let's go see what is ranked. Let's go see what you're asking. Let's see how badly this is ranked. $370. Yeah. Not bringing that up, buddy. Thank you, though. All right. Guys, 936. Oh, we're almost at 1,000. We can do it. We can do it, you guys. All right, XRP still just sits there. Of course, the SEC waited 28 days to finally come in and file their appeal right here, guys. According to the lawyers over there on Twitter, everything seems okay with the appeal. Of course, they cannot appeal the security status of XRP. Judge Torres did a fantastic job writing that into her decision, not making it tied to the other things that they want to appeal. So, whether or not this is hard for Ripple or not, this drags on Ripple's cases. That's going to be their thing. The thing that we always cared about on this channel is that they freed XRP and it got back on exchanges. Guess what? That's where we're at. That's the thing that really matters. Whatever Ripple has to go through is what Ripple has to go through, right? Porky Pig Pantalona says bags are measured in dollars or number of coins, ? Dollars. So when I say like XRP is my number one bag, then Bitcoin's number two, right? That's because I have 38 XRPs and 1 Bitcoin. No. It's measured in dollars. All right, guys, we're there. We're almost at 1,000. What am I at on time? I'm in 1 hour and 1 minute. Man, I've been nailing these now. I think we finally got it down to where we don't let these things go 2 hours anymore. For some, that's sad, but for the majority, that's a good thing. 988. We only need 12 more likes to hit 1,000. Guys, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. The stock market is having just a good start to the morning. The Dow Jones is up 418 points. The Nasdaq's up 236 points. The S&P's up 54 points. All indexes are up over 1%. Metals are doing okay today, up slightly today. Dollar down slightly today. Stocks, as you can see, mostly in the green. Waiting for Bitcoin to get its turn to catch up there a little bit. But we're still just kind of stalling out, waiting for that to end up happening. So, all right. That's going to be it for this one today, guys. And of course, keeping an eye over there on XRP to see if it can actually get that touch down there. So it's not far away, you guys. So if it can get there, it's literally like 2 or 3%. Just kidding. You can't say literally and it not be literally. It's about 4%. All right, so this is not what you want. If you want to be this 4.8%. Oh, wait. 4.6% to get to the 200-week moving average from current pricing right now. So, okay. Let's go ahead and get this thing going, get this thing on the road. Oscar gifted a BCB membership. Thank you so much, Oscar. Thank you guys so much for your support today. Thank you. We just crossed above 1,000 likes. I thank you guys all always for, literally about 2 to 3%. It's like when I'm asking my wife something and she's like, she says like, I almost guarantee it. But I'm like, but that doesn't actually mean you guarantee it. What do you mean by almost guarantee? What's your percentages of confidence? Oh, like 85%. But that's not even close to guaranteed. Okay. I love my wife. I gotta go. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. You guys can check out bcbacker.com if you're looking for some content from me. Of course, there's over 40 videos on here that I recorded this year. This got released about a month ago. Deep diving into the crypto market, talking all about the things I've learned, historical behavior of the crypto market, understanding Bitcoin bull runs, alt seasons, lessons learned between 2017 and 2021, dominant swings between Bitcoin and the altcoin market, and the stock market versus the halving. Versus Bitcoin. Of course, there's a lot of additional research data regarding stuff that improved odds, percentages, tokenomics and market cap, crowd behavior, and meme coin mania, along with, of course, the thing we all need is some emotional management. You can check all this out over here on bcbacker.com. Over 40 videos with over 11 hours of content for your viewing enjoyment. $39 one time, no subscriptions, no recurring fees. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys later. All right, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.